Hi.
Yay.
Louie was just telling everybody hi.
She was. She
Or she
loved
was.
everybody.
Yeah.
Hi,
She
Louie.
was saying, hello, it's me. Well, hello. Let's see who the first one was. Linda Barnum. Hello from Michigan. I think I saw Rachel Superior Girl Vintage. They got a little bit of snow up in the UP.
Oh,
You're kidding.
Ooh,
No,
snow
a little bit.
already.
Wow. Too
Little
early
bit.
for that.
I'm
No, I don't
excited.
know. I know. I don't know, Linda, if you were that far north, but hello and welcome. Carrie, I was just telling them, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not go to her sale. I had every intention to. Carrie had a sale, but like that time of day, I'm in transition between going from work to home to dinner to all those things. I'm sorry, Carrie. You can smack me later.
Hope it
She
went well,
said
Carrie.
to dinner. You can hear the disdain in her voice.
It's like the worst part of the day. It is the worst part of my day is that darn dinner. I'm just so over the dinner.
You just need to order cheese, Misty.
I thought, you know what, Katie? That's what I had for dinner. They had enchiladas and I had cheese. Just cheese.
The best
All right.
dinner.
Fine with me. Hey, Karen Radford.
Hey,
And
Karen.
Jenny and Jennifer and Becca. You know I can sit and do this all day. Oh, look, there's Patrick and
Oh.
Katie.
Whoa.
Hi, everybody.
Well, welcome, guys, tonight to the Vintage Rescue Squad. And I'm so excited because we have some lovely guests here tonight. We've got Katie from Vintage and Vinyl and Patrick, the Trusty Huckster Mercantile. And we got our buddy Michael here with us as well. So
With an
I want
amazing backdrop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
it's the
Very
original
fall.
Michael, the OG Michael, not his twin brother who's
Yeah.
will make an appearance in sometime in the future. But welcome. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us tonight. What we do on this show is we just kind of talk about reselling in general, reselling, buying, collecting, buying, selling, all those things, content creating, YouTube, antique malls, anything that is vintage and reseller related.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to discuss. I'm going to have my guests do a little bit of introduction and let you know where you can find them. But as always, if you have a question for one of us or all of us collectively, if you could please put it in all capital letters, it really makes it makes it easier for us to see. I will also say as well, the four of us are up on the screen, but hi Leah. Oh, I was trying to take, there we go. This panel here, you guys are just as important in this chat as the people that are on the screen. So you can answer each other's questions in the chat. That is wonderful. I highly suggest that you do that. We learn from each other every day. So let's just get this conversation started. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and let's see, who am I going to make big first? We'll make Katie big first. So Katie, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and where everybody can find you?
Absolutely. Hi, guys. I'm Katie from Vintage and Vinyl. I'm in Florida, and I talk vintage, antiques, and records on my YouTube channel every week, as well as occasionally eat some strange 1950s Jello. So if you're interested in that, you can find me on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram at vintage_and_vinyl with some great content and behind the scenes little sneak peeks of records and so forth that I can't share on YouTube. So that's always fun.
All right. So welcome, Katie. You are
And
well
Katie
loved
loves
in
a
this
good
community.
hat and a brooch.
Yes,
She
I
does.
do. I love a good hat and a brooch.
She does. I was just saying the other day, Katie, it's a video that'll be coming out soon, but I keep seeing these really cool hats from the 1920s and 30s, and I think they need to come back.
They do. You got to
Bring
bring
back
back
the
the
hat.
hat. It's classic.
New hashtag.
I need
Bring
to go
back the
get a sneaking hat. I just now noticed you all have hats on and I don't. So
Yeah, Misty, where's your hat?
Yeah,
I got
Didn't get the
a couple
memo.
of them. I'll go get one. All right, I'm going to switch Katie and Patrick. So Patrick, if you will let the people know who you are.
You bet. So Patrick, also Trusty Huckster Mercantile. I have been a vintage reseller for about 2 years. It's a side hustle for me. I do have a full-time day gig, but I've been doing YouTube live sales, which were very much helped with the launch with Misty, helped me launch all of those. But I've been doing those on Thursday nights and try and put, as Misty said, we're all trying to do a little bit of different content. I do some shop along. I just posted one of those, but I'm really proud of some of the deep dives that I started doing where we kind of get into the seriousness, or not necessarily serious, but getting into the weeds of vintage history, vintage details, learn more about some of the stuff we sell and some of the stuff that you guys like to buy.
Yes. I will say too, that I really applaud you guys for doing that, because I think that content is so interesting, and it's really good for people that are wanting to learn more about like the fine details of certain pieces of vintage and antiques. I just cannot, like, I can't focus long enough to do that, to like create that kind of content. I mean, I just can't. I know that both Patrick and Katie have asked me before if I would come on and talk about a little something, but my brain cannot. I can't focus on one thing. It's like I try and I can't. So I think that it's wonderful that you guys do that, because I know that there are so many people that really want to go into those deep dives and learn a little bit more. I know that you did one with Nate with Wedgwood, and I thought that one was a really, really good one. And I think that's something,
that was a popular one.
Wedgwood is something that we here in America, a lot of us will overlook. And just hearing about that, I think, was a very interesting thing. So,
and seeing what the possibilities are. That was one of the things we shifted. Katie and I were each doing kind of our separate versions of them. So we kind of joined forces and with Nate and said, well, let's focus on, it's hard to find someone who has a collection that shows everything. Nate's collection is great, but it doesn't have every single piece that they make and every design. So if the new version is Tales from the Triptych, and so the idea behind that is, it's not as much of a chat with us, although I still encourage questions and everything in the chat, but it's like, okay, let's go to this museum website. Let's go to this website. Let's go on eBay. Let's go on to WorthPoint. And suddenly, I didn't know that stuff existed. So I will admit, I thought the Wedgwood one was going to be boring. And I was like, how much blue and white can I look at? And then all of a sudden all of these colors started popping out, and tricolor and all these great things. I'm like, oh, hey, this is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a really good concept. I think that Patrick, you always have these really good ideas as to go in, to dive in a little bit deeper. My brain's always just
investigative reporting.
Well, to a certain extent, that's what launched, like, why I started my channel. I mean, I binged on Jeffrey, I binged on Misty, I binged on the YouTubers, and that was kind of before live sales even were a thing. It was just, I was thinking about doing this on the side. I was thinking about making some extra income. And the videos that I liked were the ones where I learned something, where it wasn't just, oh, look, here's a shelf of things and here's what I didn't buy. Nothing wrong with that. And there's some entertainment to that too. But I wanted to know, okay, well, wait, why didn't you buy it? Or why did you buy it? And like, well, now I bought it and mine didn't sell. So what did I do wrong and you did right? And so that's kind of how those things were born. And it's the content I like. I struggle to do shop with me videos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so hard. I'm kind of better, but I was like knocking stuff off the shelves. Trying to like hold it and look for my camera. I didn't have that skill set. So it was a necessity.
It's shop with me's are they're popular. I mean, people like to watch the shop with me's, but you run into the situation that when you are filming shop with me's and you're doing, you're filming, 3 to 5 videos a week, you have to constantly buy things. I mean, you don't have to, but let's be honest. If you're going to be out shopping and you see something and it's a good price, you're going to end up buying it. And then you come up with the case that you've got 1,500 million things. And, so it's kind of it can be kind of a bad thing, because you're buying these things, you need to sell these things, but you're continuously shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping. So it's kind of finding that, where to draw the line as far as, I can only shop so much. I'm only selling so much.
Right.
I'm never going to get rid of any of these things. So that's kind of where I'm at. And a lot of people said, well, you can shop your store. but that's no fun. I don't want to do that. I already seen this stuff. I already know what's here.
Well, I think during this time too of being stuck inside and locked down,
Yeah.
a lot of people not going anywhere, these shop with me's have given people like little field trips
Yes.
to stores, and it's been really cathartic for a lot of people. And that's great. I find them incredibly hard. In fact, one I did, I almost dropped an apple, one of those little glass Hazel Atlas apples. I was filming, and I thought the lid was taped on, but apparently only one side was. So the whole thing came crashing down onto a shelf of glass. It was fine, but then the store manager came over and everything. Such a mess. I'm just not very coordinated to film and try to show things at the same time. But I'm like Patrick. I like the history aspect of it too, because it's kind of neat to learn about what you're collecting and selling to your buyers,
I think so too. I think that they're great. I mean, I really, really do. I think that it's something though too that I wish that was, that was more popular than, the shop with me's, because the shop with me's are tricky to do. They're time consuming. They're expensive to do. And it's hard when you're trying to, I try to keep like 2 to 3 hour drive radius. So when you're thinking about all of the driving that you're doing too, that adds into the time that you're going and finding the stuff and storing the stuff. And so yeah, it can be a little tricky. I know Michael is wanting to do a few different styles of videos coming up as well. You want to talk a little bit about that, Michael?
I mean, I don't want to get into too much detail.
No, you don't want to give anything away.
Well, we don't want to give anything away. But and I think I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Katie was saying about, things being an experience. And it's interesting that, I do primarily do shop with me's, and I do like doing them. I like going out and exploring and seeing the different things. And I think for me, a lot of that very much was kind of how I started out wanting to do the cult of vintage. And then it became very much like a reselling kind of thing. And I ran into exactly the problem that Misty is talking about. That said, it's not even the having and the buying of the stuff and the selling of the stuff, but it's really about what is making me the most happy and putting out the content that makes me personally the most happy. And I think that is what translates to viewers. But what I am wanting to do is to provide additional experiences that will be related to vintage and more specifically antique things that aren't going to necessarily revolve around items.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully it will again give people some kind of that word that Katie said. Again, because we do have a lot of senior viewers, and hopefully the content that I put out, it will speak to other people maybe that don't have the opportunity to do what it is that I'm trying to provide for people. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Well, I think one of the things that you hit on is what's important and why some people like some channels more than others. I mean, we're not all going to be everyone's cup of tea,
right.
But it's because of that, you can't go chasing every mouse. Like, you have to figure out what you're going to do. And the biggest thing that you said that I agree with is it has to be something that makes you happy.
Yes.
And I will say, over 2 years, I've done a variety of videos that I did not like doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like editing them. And, some people will say, I don't think everyone recognizes how much work is going in off screen to make the video. And I've even tried to do, let's just do something live. And there's a lot of fun in that. But those I don't ever feel, and my numbers show it, those don't seem to get as many rewatches, because those are fun if you're there, but maybe it's not as interesting if you're just watching it later. And I want to do the research. I want to focus on certain things, and I will break everything on the shelf if I try and just scan it. So I have to do what I enjoy, and then you just come to grips. Not everyone's going to love everything I do. Right. Catherine Young did a great post yesterday that really just highlighted that you can put, and she said she spent a year building that tablescape that she created, and then it didn't get it hardly got any views. It wasn't even her top viewed video from the
Right.
week. And that is disheartening to us
It
as
is.
creators, that, you know, you do this extra time, you know, the research, and I will, you know, not to make it about me, but, you know, the research goes into some of these triptychs and the
Oh
drill
my
down.
gosh, yes.
We're putting weeks worth of research to try and find all this. And then we sit there and look at the numbers and go, but we keep doing them because they're fun for us.
Yes. And
you know, it's like there's going to be an audience out there, and maybe it's not the same audience as, you know, some others that get more views, but we can't compare ourselves to everybody else. We just have to be ourselves and be authentic, and we'll find our audience, big or small.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head. It is doing what you enjoy and what you love. And it never fails, though. Sometimes, and that's the whole analytics part of YouTube, that is like some mysterious force that, you know, you don't really know if you're doing it right or if you're what you should do. And why YouTube is going to promote your video over somebody else's and this, that, and the other. But I think, again, like what you said, doing things that you enjoy is so important, because it does take time. I mean, I know for me, it takes me about an hour to hour and a half to edit a 20-minute video. So, I mean, that's, you know, an hour and a half of the time just editing a 20-minute video. And most of the time, though, too, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, nobody wants to see this. I mean, do you do that when you're editing video? I'm like, nobody cares, Misty. Why did you even say that for? You know, so you're so critical of yourself. But usually the things that you are most critical of yourself are the things that people want to see.
Yeah.
Those criticisms. I mean, they don't want to see you criticize yourself, but the things that you criticize yourself for are the things that make you kind of who you are.
Idiosyncrasies, yeah.
Right.
And those are the things that people identify with. Those are the things that, you know, when we meet a stranger on the street, and you begin having conversations and you notice those things about someone, those are the things that you readily identify with, because it makes them human. It makes them realer somehow, or more grounded. And I think that a lot of people, this is, again, and I just want to say this, please, you guys, just understand that any opinions that we may have, and I would like to think that we've done a really good job with the guests that we have had on, that everybody recognizes that while we may have an opinion, that myself, Misty, Patrick, Katie, or whomever we have on, we understand that it's an opinion at the end of the day. It's not a fact. I'm not stating anything as a fact. I'm not stating anything as a right or a wrong. I'm just saying, for me, how about that? And I totally lost where I was going to go with that.
Keeping it real, Michael.
The idiosyncrasies. But those are the things I think that make YouTube so great, is that, you know, it's not polished. It's not, and we've talked about this before, but, you know, when we turn on cable television, you know, everything is produced, it's refined, and people look and talk a certain way, and you've got the special effects, and, you know, you've got the whole 9 yards. Everything is written and rehearsed and, you know, edited and practiced and cut and lighting and all of this stuff that goes into it. There's a disconnect. It creates a fantasy world, which is great, and it does its purpose. But YouTube really, I think what has made YouTube so popular, especially with younger people, is that they want to feel connected. And in those idiosyncrasies, when people want to edit them out and make something very perfect and polished, and it's very like, am I watching like cable or am I watching YouTube? For me, I don't connect with that kind of content, you know, because it's like, who's the real person here? You know, so I always love seeing the quirks of somebody, you know, the way that they say things, or, you know, Misty is Prixies, and it's who she is, but that is how you identify with somebody.
Well, I think if you're authentic and you're just yourself, and from a public speaking standpoint, even if you mess up a little bit, it makes people feel connected to you, because in some way they're able to relate. So it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but I do think putting in that extra effort to add a transition or just basic things really can make a video go from, okay, this is good, to this is really good now, you know. And so I always like the challenge for me of trying to do better with my editing, trying to add like, oh, I can do this effect, you know.
Mhm.
And I was talking with Catherine. We were talking about her very post that she posted on Instagram the other day, because I said, yeah, I just did this book, this video on the poison books. And I mean, it took me hours to research it and to confirm all of the facts. And I even emailed the lady that was head of the entire project, and she emailed me back. And, you know, it took a long time to curate all the photos and to narrate it and to get it together.
Yeah.
And it was like an 8-minute video that took me like 4 hours,
Right.
you know. And I told Catherine, I said, I'm really excited about this, but you watch, it will get no views. And sure enough, I mean, it's the one that you don't put a lot of effort into, or, I mean, you still work hard on everything you do, but you know, the one that's just, oh, I'm going to do this and I think it will be cool, but it's not as exciting to me as, say, maybe the book one, because there's more research to it. That's the one that always gets more views. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't figure out what is actually working or what
Well,
YouTube likes.
and like, I will not film in Goodwill anymore. I don't enjoy filming Goodwill Shop with me's. I won't do it. I'll shop at Goodwill. Of course, I'm going to go in. I will not film there. I don't enjoy it. They don't make me happy. They just stress me out. There's never anything there. So yeah, I'm not going to film at Goodwill. Do they get good views? Yeah. And that's why you'll see some people, even if they're not like necessarily, like they'll say, this is better than Goodwill, or, you know, just having
Guilty.
Goodwill in the
In the
title,
title.
right, will get a view. You know what I
And
mean?
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
Not at all.
Nope.
I mean, I've done it. I'll probably do it again, but I'm not going to film at Goodwill. I don't.
But you can spend a lot of time for that. Like, you can spend a lot of time chasing that algorithm, like you said before, because you'll say suddenly, you know, a video will go in there and I don't necessarily, I've never had anything that would be remotely considered viral, but there's always going to be some videos better than other videos that I've done. And I'll say, okay, what was it about this one that made it more desirable? Was it because the thumbnail was more interesting? Was it because the title was more engaging? Whatever. And I've yet to, I think all of us, none of us have mastered that.
No.
And I just wanted to go back to the perfection thing, because there's a lot of comments who are 100% agreeing. And I also, you need to be real, you need to be authentic. And most importantly, I think you need to have fun. I will just say that for me, putting out something that isn't clean, not perfect, but just, you know, somewhat clean, I wouldn't enjoy putting it out, you know. So I have changed a lot the way I edit. I will do clips where I'll do like 2 or 3 minute clips. I don't touch anything in the middle of those clips, but then I'll figure out how to transition from one to the other, because that's what I want to put out. And maybe that's not what people are looking for. Maybe people feel I'm not authentic, but there's a difference than going all the way, because I can see I do live stuff all the time. What ends up happening in live, I dropped the F-bomb in my last live, and I literally haven't done that in 2 years. You know? So there's certain things that shouldn't happen when you're live, but it's one of those that I don't even want to watch my own lives after, because it's, again, what I like is the education. And if I take 5 minutes to make a point that I could have made in 30 seconds, I'd rather put a clip in there that's 30 seconds long and get the point than just fill air, you know. So it's definitely a balancing act, and we all have to do it. We all do it differently.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and I think just changing up sometimes, like I used to do like one day would be a shop with me, and then the next day I would do the haul. And I know some people miss me doing that, but the reason why I don't do that anymore is because it's too much work. Because I mean, and it's something that I've learned from Jeffrey, because he's like, why are you doing that for? Just show what you're buying as you're shopping. Why are you taking it back, setting it all out, you know, making this, you know, I'm taking an hour longer, 2 hours longer just by showing it, and I'm showing it as I'm shopping. It took a little bit of a learning curve, but I still do. I mean, I always put that call to offer in for people that they want to purchase something from the video that they can. And that is very helpful. So that is one thing. If you want to, you don't always have to. I know some people struggle with, well, I don't know if I want to, like, I don't know what price to give to somebody if they ask me about something. And, you know, you got to do your research to see how much it is and offer them a fair price. You know what you've paid for it. So, I mean, that's my advice on that. But Betty says, telling us some items are a good price for collectors, but not for resale, lets us know what is a good deal for us, for our home, or for gifts. And I think that's important too.
I think that's a good point.
And there are times in a live sale that you can knock me over on the floor. I cannot believe that certain things have sold for what they have sold for. It's a very weird feeling. And Michael knows I've struggled with this for a very long time, that sometimes the things that we sell in live sales they sell for over what the going price is. They do. And it's a very odd feeling. And you don't quite know how to justify it sometimes. But I know that people have told me because I have struggled with it, that, you're putting out daily content. People appreciate that. You're giving them free entertainment. It's their way that they can support you. So when you look at it that way, I appreciate that, but it is a little, sometimes it's hard. It's hard.
Well, but I think, oh, let's go there then. I think the
whole point of the Vintage Rescue Squad is to I don't want
to go
anything
there.
to be,
Yep.
There's no veiling. We're getting it all
real
out there and be upfront and honest and real. That's what I wanted this to all be about.
Yes.
You know that.
Of course. I think with that, there, in that instance that Misty has talked about, of course there are certain things that we will purchase and we are, as we say, paying up for it. So our hope is that there is, because we believe that item, that people are going to want it, and that we as resellers are willing to pay a premium on it. One, for being able to say that we have this at a live sale, and two, because we do think that it is desirable, and maybe it's rare or it's hard to find or it's extraordinarily unique. So we will do that. And so that's not to say that, but there is, maybe it's, it's something that maybe retails that would go for like $50 on eBay, and it goes for $150, and I think for me, it's, as time it's been over a year now. Can you believe that? That's insane. Over a year now.
Time goes by quickly.
Doesn't it though?
It does.
There are those times when that occurs and I'm like, what? But then there are times, truth be told, when I'm like, I am getting this and this is such a good deal and I know that this is going to go so well because I know there is collector value to it, and it undersells, it underperforms. So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it does balance itself out, but it's always, and we've talked, you don't know, especially during a live sale. It's like you have something and you're like, oh, I'll make $20 on it. And you make $120 on it. And then you're thinking that thing that you're going to make $120 on is the thing you make $20 on. It's the weirdest thing. Talking about algorithms, sometimes you think, and then other times you're just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
You can't control what people are willing to pay for something. And I
Right.
think that a lot of people, they can't find certain things in their area. Like I don't find a lot of kitsch. And that happens to be very popular in the live sale. So if I collected kitsch, that would be something that maybe I'd be willing to pay more for. Or maybe, a lot of people want things. It's hard to kind of think this way sometimes. But, they want things from you, Misty, or they want things from you, Michael. It's like they actually want to support your channel and your content. And the fact that, I'm buying a Cupie from Misty and she's really into the babies. So I'm going to get that from her. I think there's some element to that as well, too.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree with that. Christine says, do y'all, well, I gotta say it like I'm living in Texas, right? Do y'all prefer shopping videos at antique malls? Yes, girl. Yes.
Yes.
And you can buy things for resale at an antique mall.
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, I bought a Snappy the Turtle or Snappy the Snail for $5. A Lefton Snappy the Snail for $5 at an antique mall. I sold it for $65. You can buy.
I got a Lefton Miss Press the other day for a really good good bargain at an antique mall. So you never know what's waiting for you.
You
There you
know?
go.
Now, related to that, I saw a comment zip by in the chat, but it goes back to what we were talking about a little bit before. So when you find things like that in an antique mall, those were clearly items that were undervalued, and so
Yes.
you're selling them then really at a retail value.
Yeah.
Is the idea of when I will just say, because again, there's nothing to not disclose here. I will very rarely show the price I'm paying for something if I do it in a shop with me video. Because I do, there was another comment that I do like to show prices of things that I'm not picking up. I mean, one of the things I'll say is like, this is a really good price for a collector. I'm not going to pick it up for resale. So as I am kind of referencing that, but if I'm buying something that is undervalued, I'll tend not to showcase that. And so in my case, I'm always like 6 months behind what Misty's doing. So I've moved on to doing the shop with me videos and then the haul right after. So I am at least not doing them as two separate videos because it was just too much to try and do. But I'm not to the point of showing everything that I picked up for that reason. Or if I'm doing it, I make sure that the price tag is turned in some way. And it's not that I'm trying to hide something, but it's because, and I'm not going to call out the person unless, people can go through the chat and figure it out. There is that philosophy that, well, you only paid X for it. Why are you paying? Why you shouldn't sell it for that much? And now I do not, if somebody asks me or whatever, I'm not ashamed of it, because if my grandmother left me something in her will, so technically I got it for free and it's worth $10,000, am I supposed to sell it for $1 because I didn't pay anything for it?
Nope.
That's insane, but there is that philosophy that it's greedy. And then I will say, just to kind of put it out there, it's also a very different experience when you're doing shop with me videos or doing the buying when you don't do offer ups. And I'm very much in a minority that I do not do offer ups ever on my live sales. Yeah. And so I don't have the luxury of saying, I think this will go for above list price. Yeah. I'm selling things for below what they're selling on eBay. So so that's why I don't really want to announce what I'm paying, because I don't have the luxury of saying, well, this is like 20% below retail, but I think it'll go above. I need to find something that's truly the seller didn't know what they had. And then I can put it on a live sale, or it's going to head over to my eBay shop.
But Patrick, irregardless of whether or not you are doing offer ups or you doing straight claims, at the end of the day, how you choose to, again, put out your content, and if it makes you uncomfortable for whatever reason to show the prices that you are buying the item at, then more power to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's entirely up to you. And it goes back to the thing about, a lot of happiness relies on comfort. And if you're not comfortable doing something, you certainly can't be happy doing it. And yes, Daniel, I 100% agree with it. Look, I can go into my computer at my store and scan any item into that computer and tell you how much we as a company bought it for and how much we are going to sell it. There is not one business that exists that does not buy something below cost and sell it for a profit. That is business. So if anybody, I don't know, to me, anybody working under that assumption obviously doesn't know how business works. So therefore, I don't know, maybe they're hunting and gathering and they're raising everything on the farm because, we're clutching the pearls here that somebody would dare make a couple of bucks on something that they got for $4. Well, that's, again, business.
Here's the thing. I've heard that, they're just greedy. They're just greedy. They're just always, trying to get money. Well, you know what? That's what I do for a living. I sell things. I'm a reseller. That is my job. I go out, I look for things, I curate things. And I buy the things that make me happy. I leave things that I know I could probably sell, but I know that they're going to sit on a shelf because I don't enjoy them. So that's what I do for a living. I resell things for a living. I have live sales. It's what I do for a living. It's how I have 2 kids in college. It's how I pay my bills. This is what I do for a living. So I that always annoys me when I hear, well, they're just doing it for the money. Well, that's what we do. I mean, that's how I earn my living.
Well, I think it's also I agree with what Michael's saying. A lot of people don't understand just And to a certain extent, they don't understand business, but in some ways, this business is a little bit different because you didn't pay $10 for that item. You paid for the gas to get it. You paid for, all the time. If you break down, this is something I joke with because people think you can make so much money with AdSense and all these things like, oh, well, we're making money videos. If you cut down how much money I make on my videos based on the number of hours I put into creating it and putting up there, we're talking pennies, per the hour. And we pay for we pay for StreamYard. We pay fees if it goes onto eBay. We pay. One of the things that people seem to not understand is we're paying fees to PayPal. So if there's not enough money there, we suddenly can lose money on shipping because I'm going to charge you what I get charged. I get such a great discount. Well, if I don't have enough money to make up for that, I suddenly am going to eat 5 to 10% based on what you purchased from me. And people don't seem to understand that. And I tried to over cater to it initially. And I don't think I've become a jerk since then, but I've started, this is a business. And even though it's a side business, it's not a business if I'm not going to make any money. Right. And that money then I put back in. I now have a paid StreamYard subscription. I now have a paid WorthPoint subscription. WorthPoint costs $200 a year, just to have that for us to access it for the triptych. There are costs that people have no idea that if you're not selling millions of items a year, it has to be split up with the dozens that you do. And
and there's so much extra time, like you're saying, Patrick. I mean, the gas and the time that it takes to drive across town. I don't live near things that are as easily accessible as far as vintage for resale. So if I'm going to resell something, for collecting, there's plenty of places around me, but I have to drive even farther to find things for sales. So, that costs time and money. I mean, time is money. And then you have your bubble wrap, your shipping supplies, and then all the things you put into your camera gear. Like I just invested in the Rode microphones that Bedford Finds has, and, like extra lighting and all the things that you do to make your videos better. I mean, there's just so much time and effort and expense that goes in. So I think it's totally justifiable. And for people to complain is crazy to me. I mean, I've had even people complain about things I bought for my own collection. And that's when I started realizing I can't tell the price of things anymore because someone complained to me, oh, that's not worth what you paid. Well, to me, it's worth it. I wanted it for my collection. I'm thrilled to have it. And if you felt like that was too expensive, well, I'm sorry. I like it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably one thing that a lot of people don't think about, though, too, is it's just I think that sometimes I don't know that people mean things with ill intent, but yet it still doesn't take away the negative impact that it has on the content creator. That person maybe isn't thinking like, oh, this is going to maybe hurt Katie's feelings or make her feel some kind of way. But at the end of the day, well, yeah, it does. You have a stranger telling you, well, I think you overpaid for something. I mean, really though? It's just, but that's the world we live in, because a lot of it, people would say, well, would you do that in real life? And at this point, I think there's a lot that a lot of people would do in real life.
Right.
But it's just, but why bother? Why expend the energy in negativity? Just don't say anything at all. It's easier to not take the energy and say nothing.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
But I think too, though, when you get those comments over and over again, you start to feel like you need to change to be what the commenters want. It's just like I did the Jeopardy, and I was talking about this, but there was a lot of positive comments the first time I did Jeopardy, but then there was people saying, well, you didn't do it to Jeopardy standards. You didn't follow the exact rules on the television show, or you didn't do this, or, oh, that was kind of weird. You should have done. So then for the next time, you're like, well, what do I need to do to make people happy? And you shouldn't have to think that way. But if you get enough comments of some particular thing, you're going to start getting that in your head. And it's just something that doesn't go away.
And I'm not nearly the size of the channel as, particularly Misty and Michael Todd. So you see it probably much more than I do, but it's the idea that sometimes we're not allowed to be human. It goes back to the, being authentic, is that they'll try and give their helpful comments or pointing out what you screwed up. And it's just like, okay, I did edit the video and I did miss that. thank you for now shining a spotlight on it. And then if you delete the comment, then people think that you're being unfair to them.
Right.
And I think the most common one that probably all of us are affected by, because I know Katie and I have struggled with this. Even something as simple as saying hi to people, if you're in a live chat,
yes,
if you inadvertently miss somebody, and it's 100% inadvertent.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. It's one of those
absolutely.
cases that I try and explain to people that, if you do it on StreamYard, it jumps. So sometimes you're actively missing something. I get stressed about it, but then it's also kind of like, wait, I'm doing this for fun. And, it's trying to find that balance, but people get upset.
These chats and even the sales, because I want people to come to my sales. I want them to interact and engage and ask each other how their day is going, and that I want that to go on during my sales, because I know that I'm up here having a sale, but it's also a social time. It's also a social gathering, and I like to talk. Everyone likes to talk, and I encourage that. It is so hard, and that's why I watch a lot of sales. I watch a lot of content, but I don't always comment, because it gives me anxiety. It gives me anxiety to pop in and say hi. And not that I don't want anyone to say hi to me. Please don't take this the wrong way. But I get anxiety that I'm going to not say hi to everybody. So typically what I do when I go in and I do say hi, I will just say hello, everybody. And I'm just like, because I use the example, when you go into a room, when you walk into a room, like at a party or whatever, typically you're not going to every single person. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Michael. Hello, Katie. But you're not going to each individual person. Typically, you're gonna like, hey guys,
Especially when the room has 300 people in it.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Right. I'm gonna be like, hey guys. So that, I think, and then sometimes the chat can get overloaded by hello, blah, 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 which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just saying it can get really overwhelming. I think just a simple, hey everybody, hello, I'm here. Hello, it's Patrick. Patrick's here today, and just kind of just talk to people naturally instead of worrying so much about saying hello to all of the people, because there's a lot of people in the chat. They may not be all saying hello. So
Right.
You're saying hello to everybody. You're saying hello to everybody, even the people that aren't,
And I like what Daniel says, because he always says in the chat, thank you for all the hellos. And I just think that is the most perfect statement, because people always say hi, and I'm always afraid I'm going to miss somebody, especially like in Jeffrey's and Pam's sale, your sale, Misty, Michael. I mean, the chat goes so fast. I mean, literally, you cannot keep up with it. And there's no way to say hello to everyone. It's not that I'm slighting someone or I don't like somebody. I mean, let's just get all of that out of our heads right now. It's just that literally we're one person, and when the chat is flying like a ticker tape parade, it's impossible to see. Yeah. So we love everyone. It's so hard. And when you're on a live too, like Patrick said, that's a great point. When I do lives, and I don't have near the amount of people that some folks do on their lives, but I'll find that I'll be reading a comment and then the chat just it just jumps, and then you're trying to backtrack and you lose like 10 people. And it's just how StreamYard is. It's complicated sometimes.
Well, and LaDonna had a good point though too, because I have seen it, unfortunately, even people amongst the chat, where, you can focus on it. And at the end of the day, you don't know, like somebody, could have gotten up to go to the bathroom and they're not seeing somebody come in, and then somebody else is up. So, well, why didn't you say hello to me? And what are you going to do? Be like, well, I just went to the bathroom, but hello, it's just, again, I think that it goes back to being graceful with one another. And, at the end of the day, we're all here because we have a common thing in common, a common thing in common. We all have something in common, which is vintage and antiques, and that is the thing that has brought us all together. And we always, people have messaged me on Instagram if I miss a hello in the chat.
Oh, I've gotten emails before about it as well. I feel for Nate.
But Nate, you're everybody's little little Nate. Everyone would get so mad if you didn't say hi to them though, because you're such an enduring force. I think in this community, like people see you pop in and they're just waiting on Nate to is Nate going to say hi to me? You know,
And Nate
But
has
that's
all
putting
the
pressure on
love for
Nate to try and
everybody.
catch everyone. And it's one of the cases. There
Really,
was a couple
Nate.
comments that came through. It's the golden rule thing. It's the golden, like, just be kind. And some people don't seem to have that ability or choose to put it away on certain cases. And then it becomes, how do you respond? Because you don't, I mean,
I agree, Skunky. That's how life is. I mean,
there you go. Well, I remember there was
I
a
don't like it.
situation in this isn't so much about the hellos, but it's just about being kind. I was accused of rigging, and I think we've all kind of been in that situation, but I don't even do offer ups. And I was accused of rigging one of my sales, and it popped up in the chat, and all of my moderators had deleted it but people don't realize StreamYard doesn't delete something that was deleted from YouTube. So
Right.
I saw the comment, not realizing it had been deleted.
Yep.
And I lost my cool right on air. And people were like,
Yep.
okay, cool, I'm down, it's fine. But I took it personally. And so it's one of I'm trying to do my best. And it kind of goes back to that human thing. I'm not always going to be perfect. And so if I make a mistake, we need to laugh it off and we need to move on, not just latch onto it. And I think that leads to one of the other big problems that happens in the chat. Sometimes chat, it's like a text. You can't always read tone.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
I have obsessed over comments where I'm like, okay, could this have been read any other way than being a jerk? And sometimes I can figure it out. And other times I'm like, no, that was just telling me I need to take the rod out of my butt. I really don't think it can be construed as positive. So
No.
and why would again, if you have nothing nice to say, well, come sit next to me. But if you have nothing nice to say, what benefit do you have in saying some of that? And so when hurtful comments go out, even if you meant it in jest, recognize sometimes it can't be recognized that way because we don't really all know each other. We don't get our senses of humor. We don't understand sarcasm in text.
Well, which brings me to another point. We touched upon this a little bit before we went live, and that is moderators. So I've talked about this a little bit before, but we were talking about, we all love each other in this community, right? We're all we love each other. We all trust each other. I know. See, that's what I'm saying. We don't know each other. We don't know each other like really know each other. So I have taken, I clean up my moderator list. I look at it every once in a while and I adjust because I want to make sure that I have moderators that are moderating my lives, because that's when you're moderator. They're moderating when you have lives because you're busy and you can't really make sure that everything is going on in the chat the way that you want it to be. I think that if something isn't obvious, like the hot webcam girls, when they show up, and that's obvious.
Yep, they're definitely a troll.
Boom, 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 boom. That's an obvious delete. But if someone has, I'm gonna try to use a different name than what I used earlier. If someone has a name like Big Booby 2000, okay. Let's just say that's their YouTube name.
Or thereabouts.
It may be off color. It may be a little tacky or a little maybe not in good taste, but that may be a customer of mine. And what I think is
offensive
to me, what isn't offensive to me may be offensive to somebody that might be a moderator. And they may see that username like, oh, it's porn. It's porn. Delete. And I don't want, maybe Big Booby 2000 is a great customer of mine and I don't want them to be banned, So I try to say during my lives, I don't want any of my moderators to block anybody until I give the okay. I can see it. The people in the chat will be like, troll. And then, we're like looking and then we're like, oh no, they're okay. Or sometimes I'll just take care of it myself because I don't want to offend somebody else just because they've chosen, Booby 2000 as their name.
Well,
Yeah.
I think related to that is one of the things you said in building that up is controlling and knowing your moderators. I think there's a lot of different philosophies of how moderators should handle, and there's some that everyone that is a recognized name becomes a moderator. I've set my moderators very early on and almost never have changed it.
Yep.
And I've chat with the ones that are active, and I just make sure that they kind of have that same philosophy as that I do. And I will say there was one particular instance where somebody was new. I can't remember if it was on a sale or something else. And they were new as a name that I didn't recognize. And the comments weren't necessarily, they weren't off color. It wasn't a troll. It was somebody that, legitimate, had a reason to be there. But the comments were not appropriate. And so the moderator kept timing them out, and then they made a kind of a public statement saying, well, I don't feel I'm welcome here, and you're rude and I'm going to leave or whatever. And I just said, I'm defending my moderators. I'm horrible at following the chat. Horrible at following the chat in a live sale. I just can't do it. So I wasn't 100% sure what was being said, but I wasn't about to throw one of my moderators under the bus. Moderators thought it was something inappropriate, then it was probably inappropriate, and I'm going to totally back them up. Sorry if you feel hurt by that. But then let's go back and look at your comment and figure out, well, what did you say that could have been misconstrued? Because again, it goes back to that whole, they may have been funny or sarcastic or whatever, but just see it from somebody you don't know. But you've got to be able to back up your moderators. And if everyone under their son and their brothers are their moderators, you've got the Wild West. You can't have 5 people in charge of the room.
Yeah. There's too many cooks in the kitchen at some point. And
Absolutely.
I think too, moderators, especially on some of the larger sales, will see a pattern with somebody. And, I always watch and read their comments, because sometimes they could be trying to be funny and it just doesn't come across very funny.
Yeah.
And so I will read and wait. And if it's something I feel is slightly off color or somebody might take it the wrong way, I'll delete the comment, but I won't delete them. Right. But then, of course, people feel like you've deleted them because
you're censoring.
So then, I never want it to stop the whole sale, but of course it always does. And then the person's like, oh no, we lost somebody. It's like, okay, going back to what Patrick said, I think sometimes standing by your moderators, and accidents do happen with the timing out thing. But knowing that maybe we're seeing a pattern with someone that's continuing to be rude. And there's also that too, because I think with the offer ups, a lot of times people can get really, not everyone, because we do have a really stellar community, but people can get kind of bent out of shape that they didn't win something, or that somebody got in before them, and then they continue to badger someone else in the chat. And that becomes to the point where it's, I think, disrupting the sale, and that person might need a timeout.
But what I would do if that happened, and I have done this before, is if it's during my sale, I'm going to stop the sale. I am, because I feel like it's my sale, it's my channel, I'm in control.
Right.
I will stop the sale, and I will say, I'm sorry, you need to stop. And I will take the responsibility of, being, the bad person. I think that if you rely too much on your moderators, then you're giving your moderators a little bit more control over your channel. Because at the end of the day, it's your channel, it's your name, it's your business.
It's your business. That's
my
right there. It's your business. And here's the thing. If you are doing, depending, especially if you're selling, okay, if you're having like what we're doing right now, could you say that it's business? In a way, it is related to our business, but we are not here to make money by having this chat. We're here to have a conversation. But for me, it really is a sense of, well, who's the boss here? Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to be like, oh, the boss kind of, but who's in charge? Who's the leader? Who's the one at the end of the day that has to answer, and who's the one that's really going to hear about it at the end of the day? And that is the content creator, the manager, if you will. Somebody doesn't come into the store and says, let me talk to the assistant manager. No, they don't. They come in and they say, let me talk to the store manager. So it very much is like whomever is hosting the sale is the store manager, and the person that's coming in isn't going to say, let me talk to that moderator. They may, because that may be the person they're having an issue with. But at the end of the day, as a store manager, it's my duty, my responsibility to step in and intervene and say, okay, here's the deal. This is how this is going to go. It shouldn't be, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, well, Katie's the moderator and she can handle it, and I'm just going to keep selling. It's inappropriate, in my opinion, because talking about throwing somebody under the bus, to me, that is a version of throwing somebody under the bus, is being like, well, Katie did it and she's the moderator, so she's, and I'm up here. No, just handle your business. And that includes what's happening in the chat. It is part of your business, because these are people that you're trying to create a welcoming environment for.
Well, you want everyone to feel welcome at your sales, but then
Yes.
there comes a point when people are going to be kind of, you
Snarky.
like you don't even really want them there if they're going to be, constantly causing a problem.
Yeah, I think there's different levels, because I would
I do
say,
too.
going back to what you're saying, Michael, that I don't disagree with you. I mean, we've all been in business of some levels, and this is our business. But just as and typically you wouldn't want, whether that customer is trying to claim to go to the assistant manager or the manager, you don't do that discussion in front of the rest of your customers. And so when if you're in a live event, if you're in a sale and it's distracting from what your business is at hand, that's why you have an assistant manager. So you give them the power, you empower them to be able to say, hey, manage the little stuff. If it gets out of hand, absolutely, that's when I get involved. And that's, the person that claimed I was rigging it. I didn't know what was going on until it was brought to my attention. So it's one of those cases where there are levels, and I've watched many sales, or I've watched many lives where it comes to a halt, in my opinion, again, because it's all about opinions, my opinion, unnecessarily, because I'm just watching. And half the times I'm going to watch some of these, particularly live chats, and even in some cases live sales, I don't even have the chat on. I'm watching it in the background. It's on my TV. And so I don't even have the chat. So when suddenly a sale is stopped or a chat is stopped to deal with this little thing of business, well, you just brought a very powerful spotlight to someone who didn't deserve that spotlight. And in some cases, it's my opinion, in some cases, people do it to get that attention. What do you do, when the boy's pulling on the girl's pigtails, you tell the girl to ignore him, because eventually he'll realize, well, I'm not getting a reaction, so we're going to go away. People are looking for the reaction. And so that's where I feel that if you have empowered people that you trust, not going to empower everyone who just says, oh, I want to be a wrench. If you can control that. And if something goes poorly or you disagree, then you have the conversation later saying, okay, I would have done this differently. So if it happens again, let me know. I've got, my moderators can text me separately so I can deal with it privately without stopping, not even necessarily a sale, but, just stopping, because we're all here to have fun. And when you draw attention and you get sucked into that negative energy, it stops having fun for everybody.
Well, I think knowing what your channel operator wants is really important. So if you're moderating for someone and they've talked to you and okay, on this channel, they don't want the email put in this way, or they want you to answer questions in this manner, follow that and listen to that. And I kind of know on what sales certain people want and what they don't want on other sales. And also knowing too, that being a moderator is not a simple job. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, give me a wrench, it will be fun. It's nice to moderate, and it's honor, it's always an honor to get the blue wrench, but it's not something that's just easy. It's not just a badge that you get that's kind of like fun, like a ticket going into a ride. I mean, because there are people that can really be as lovely as this community is. So don't think that I'm saying that everyone is awful, but there are a few people that can be really nasty to the moderators, or you have to handle some things that you're like, man, that was not easy, or the chat's flying. So it's not simple.
But I think the main point of that, and I agree, Katie, and I think the main point of that is if you have a YouTube channel and you have moderators, you really need to be in communication with those moderators that that are always, I mean, we all know we've got certain ones, like I got my guy Tiger in there. He and I have had several conversations. He and I are very much on the same page when it comes to a lot of things, but I know that there are going to be times when Tiger can't be there. So I have to make sure that I am in communication with, like Carrie. Carrie is a mod. She and I have had conversations. She knows what Bree has been a mod. We've had conversations. So they kind of know what I want. I think that there was a point in time when people were making everybody mods because we had that whole incident where people were like wanting to make sure that they were approved, and so they made everybody a mod. But the thing about that is that I think that sometimes you can give a moderator can get a little too in control of what they think, and they'll go beyond what that content creator has asked or has wanted them to do. They'll take upon responsibilities that they were never asked to take upon, and then they can get mad when that person decided, I don't think I want to go in that route. Then they're very offended. So I think the whole thing is just having an open sense of communication with your mods, and just be, don't make everybody a mod. Have conversations with your moderators.
Or if you do, own it. That's just going back to Michael's point, because Michael's point was 100% valid. Yep. It is our business. It is our channel. Yep. So if that is your choice,
I agree.
Then you have to figure out, okay, I did this because of whatever reason. This is I'm the manager. You are all the PMs. I have the control. As long as you own both sides of it, it can totally work. Like I wouldn't be able to say, I'm going to give my power to all my moderators, and then the minute they turn their back, I'm turning on them. Say, oh yeah, Katie shouldn't have done that. Oh, Nate, I got to have a talk to him. You can't throw your moderators under the bus, or you just say, you know what, you guys, this is what you control. I'm controlling all this other, and this is what I want my channel to be. As long as you own it, it's just one of those cases that everyone handles it differently. Yeah. And like, just trying to move this in, maybe moving on to another topic, because a lot of people watch all of our channels, they get used to, well, Misty does it this way, or Michael Todd does it this way. And there will be people that will show up on my channel and say, well, you're doing it wrong because somebody bite me. So it's difficult to then balance, because I have a different approach to when somebody types in the number incorrectly, and I have been absolutely attacked.
I bet
by people that felt that because the larger channels do it this way, that's how I should do it. I'm like, this is the Wild West. We can all do whatever we want, and mine is all about intention. If you type in, if something's $15, the number's 82, and you type in 15, you don't get it, because I showed you the $15 like 10 seconds before you gave the number. But if instead of typing 82, you typed in 81, all right, everyone's like trying to take for the fist, and they just hit the wrong number. I didn't even have an 81. It's yours. Like, and I've had people, there was one instance, it carried into other people's
chats for weeks.
Saying, I can't believe that happened. And it was attacking me. It was attacking my moderator. And it was just like, and that's why I keep saying, like, I'm not selling the Mona Lisa, people. We are here to have fun. And if this stops being fun, I stop doing it. Right. So, there are people that don't buy from me anymore because I'm not their thing.
See, and I think that people really need to understand that is that while we are very much a community, we very much are, and we support one another, and we try to, do what we can to, to promote one another and that sort of thing. But we also are different businesses. We have different policies. And I've said this before, I think that it's so important. And I know that all of us, underneath all of our videos, we have a description of what our policies are. And honestly, if you're having a live sale and you don't have your policies underneath in the description of your video, I know they don't always get read, but they still need to be there. So I think that it's important to maybe, if you like, I go to Patrick's channel and watch his sales every Thursday. Maybe think, well, maybe I haven't read his policies. Maybe I should go back and read his policies. All you got to do is pull up an old sale video and look down the description, and you'll see the policy right there. So.
And that's the beauty of this community, is that we have so many different channels now and so many different sales and styles, that if you don't like the way I do my sales or Patrick does his, you can go other places and connect with different people in the chat. So, instead of maybe complaining about it, just go to another sale and find something that you like.
I agree. And you know what? And this is what we can put a pin on it and move on. But I do want to just say, like, you know, and I think there's some people that do agree, and unfortunately, there are some people that don't. But I will say that, the when I say that I support somebody, I mean that. It doesn't mean that my support is conditional on, well, if they don't do it exactly how I do it, then I agree they're doing it wrong. No, because it's their business. Just because I choose to conduct my business the way that works for me doesn't mean that I think that everybody else should do it the way that I do it, because the way that I do it is just right, and it's right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It never is.
Right.
So my support isn't conditional on somebody doing something the exact way. That's foolish
Yeah.
at the end of the day, because we all are individuals, and that is in fact what makes the community great. Because just as Katie said,
Yeah.
if that's not the style you like, cool. Find a style that you do like. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I carry forward that topic about the way of supporting other channels is that there's multiple ways to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're 100% exactly what you said is exactly right. But I wanted to echo that specific piece of it is because I've received comments, and I apologize. I know that Misty does this as a full-time job, full-time gig. Katie does this as a side. I think Michael Todd, I think yours is a side gig too. That I don't have time to support everyone's channel. I don't have time, and I only have, and it's not that I'm busier or anything than anybody else. I just recognize I have a certain number of hours that I can allocate to not doing something for one of my two businesses. And so I have to pick and choose. And I've gotten, kind of, I won't say attacked, that's a little too strong, but shamed into not supporting or particularly not attending people's sales.
Yes.
I've said this from the
It's
beginning.
impossible.
You don't have to attend somebody's sales to support them. Like
Amen.
I will share their text. I'll comment on their Instagram post.
Absolutely.
I will put it in my community. I will try and do something. I might even mention them in a chat. Whatever, just like, I'm not going to put a lot of attention to it, but I want to support. Sometimes it backfires because well, you mentioned her channel, but you didn't mention mine.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me.
It's like, again, you can't be perfect, but I felt this from day one as the community started building. We don't need to support each other by buying from each other. One, I can't afford to do that.
Right.
Two, I don't have the time to do it, especially now there's so many channels. But I've totally support. I haven't been in one of Michael's sales like hardly ever, because one of them conflicts with something else I'm doing. But it doesn't mean I don't support him. It doesn't mean that I don't like everything that he puts out there and share stuff that I can share, but whatever. I think that sometimes, again, it's human. People forget that we should just dedicate 24 hours a day. And there are people like Katie that seems like, even though it's a side gig, can be in 18 sales at the same time. Puts people like me, makes me look bad, but I can only do what I can do. I cannot be Katie. So I let Katie be Katie, do my thing, and it's just I try and be as direct as I can to back to people, but I still support people. I just can't always do it in a way that's obvious.
Well, our community is growing so much now, and I think that's wonderful. It's great that we have all these people that want to do sales and do channels, and that is awesome. Best of luck, but it is really hard for one person. I mean, I'm still a person behind the screen, and I think some people forget that, but it's impossible for me to be everywhere. Like, I can't have 5 devices. Right. I remember one evening, this was like a couple of months ago, there were several things happening that people had asked me to go to. And so I had like multiple tabs open, and I was going between like 3 of them. And I finally was like, I can't do this. I can't keep up with all 3 of these chats. And as much as I want to support everyone, it's impossible. And I think that made me realize that, like Patrick said, there are plenty of other ways to support. And I try to share things to my stories. I try to comment on things, like things. I mean, just those basic things can really mean a lot to someone and can be a great way to support as well if you can't get to all the sales or chats. I mean, there's just so much happening now, and we're not a TV network. So it's not, 24-hour program.
We don't have production teams like a TV network.
You know what?
We're doing ourselves.
Linda, I hate to cook. Sorry.
That's
part of my day.
Linda, that is exactly what I wanted to just now say, is that here is the thing. Every single person on this screen, and every single person that you see and subscribe and view on YouTube is a human being. And everything that happens to you throughout the course of the day, throughout the course of your week, throughout the course of your month, those same things are occurring to us too. However, more often than not, most of us are choosing not to share that with you. Not because we're trying to be inauthentic, because what we're trying to do is give you guys something, not get something in return, but to give something to somebody else. So we don't typically, most of us don't bring our personal stuff, our personal business out and put that on display. So for some of us, there may be things that are going on that prevent us from being at sales, from promoting other people's sales. It's time. It's time away from family. It's time away from friends. It's time away from our own selves, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And those things are extraordinarily important, irregardless of what you're doing, YouTube or you're working a 9 to 5. It's important to make sure that you're giving your personal self space that you need to be a healthy, productive individual. So it's a lot of pressure a lot of times when you're doing multiple things, and you've got the reality is still pressing in on you too, like cooking dinner.
Yeah.
We
Well,
still we do eat.
and I have, yes, well, some of us eat more than others. Like me, I eat my ketchup, potato chips, and cheese. Pretty much that's what I live on. But um, I have to say though too, like when I come home, that's why I have my sales during the day, because my evening times are when I'm not working, and I don't go to a lot of evening sales because I'm spending time with my husband. And he doesn't want to watch live sale videos. And I mean, if I'm sitting on the couch and I have done this on Friday nights, he knows that I watch Jeffrey's sales for the most part. Saturday nights, we have game nights. I would love to watch Miss Pamela's sales, but I can't because we're having the game nights. But there's been times that I like had my phone, I tried to put my headphones in, and he's like, "What are you doing? Spend time with me." So, I mean, I have to draw the line where I can't be in a lot of evening sales because that's when I'm off of work. And and sometimes when this is what you do for a living, this is what you do full time, and you're watching other sales in the evening when you're not working, it starts to be that you are working because you're engaging and you're networking and you're still working. It's fun work. It's the best job in the world. Don't get me wrong, but it's still at the end of the day, it isn't what I have to be doing. What I should be doing is spending time with my husband, spending time with my son, and not being glued to my devices. Because I'm on my devices a lot, answering emails, doing this, that, and the other. And he has taken the phone out of my hand and said, "Put it down." So
I think, as we've said before, we've got a very wide variety, and there are some people that I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but they want to overshare. They want to, that is part of their message, that is part of their brand, whatever. And there is definitely an audience that enjoys that. And so again, like, no, this is all like, we're all different. Yeah. I will just say, kind of going on to what Misty's saying, what Michael said. For me, I do this whole thing for fun. I do this whole thing almost as an escape. I would not enjoy sitting on camera crying because someone said something mean about me, or because I can't pay my bills this week, or because whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with people do that, but to me, I want to escape from it. So I just want to, like, hey, let's talk about this piece of porcelain. Let's do this. And I'm going to have fun, because then I think that I've got an audience that they want to escape too.
Yeah.
They don't want to watch me. They don't want to watch me cry. Well, some people probably do, but they don't want to watch. They don't want to hear about just stuff that's going to bring them down. It's like, again, we're not all going to be all things to all people, but if we keep it authentic to ourselves and keep it authentic to our channel, like, for me, I couldn't even remotely imagine giving a video that went into that level of detail and got that personal. I mean, for the longest time, people didn't even know my daughter's name because I kept referring to her as the Huckster helper. And because I was bothered by the fact that anyone would know her name. You know, she was young. She's an adult now, so I still kind of keep it somewhat separate. But you know, it's one of those, like, there's certain things that you have to choose what gets exposed, and when it gets too personal, particularly if it's personal negative, I don't want to watch it, so I don't want to put it out there. And so it's whatever you create your own brand and your own videos.
And I think people have enough issues in their own lives and struggles that they don't go to YouTube, at least in my opinion. And for me, I wouldn't go to YouTube for this either, is to hear about that or to feel that they have to be brought down in some way, or, oh, I watched that. No, that makes me sad. I mean, that's why a lot of us don't watch the nightly news or go to Facebook anymore, because we're trying to escape all of that same stuff that we're sick of seeing. And I find for my channel, I like to create that community that's learning and interesting and doing things that are more of an escape, like Patrick said, for my audience. And I enjoy that myself. So I want my channel to be that, less about my personal life. Not that I don't share Louis or, you know, some of the things around my home. Yeah. And there's a line, of course, but there's a lot of things that I want for me. And then there's a lot of things that I, you know, want for my viewers. And I think having that balance is important, and allowing it to be a community and a bunch of videos that are just really interesting and more of an escape than just a bunch of drama and stuff that people, I feel like they really don't want to see.
I think it's a matter of respect too. I mean, I respect my viewers. I'm appreciative of my viewers and the subscribers. I respect them enough not to dilute their brains with, I mean, I got stuff that's going on too, but it's a matter of respect. I respect them enough to not, I want them to leave after watching my videos feeling happy and laughing and being uplifted, not being like, oh my gosh, I've got to go buy something because I feel bad. No, I don't know. I mean, everyone has issues, and there's hard times people go through, and that's sad. And
everyone handles them differently.
Everyone handles them differently. But I think when you have a business, handling things that are private needs to be handled in a private matter. And I mean, I guess that's just like with teaching, you know, if I've had a bad day, if Mark and I were fighting, or if my kids were driving me nuts, or if I had, you know, some kind of medical test or something, when I walk in that classroom, all of that, I can't take any of that with me. I can't deliver that to my students. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like that your audience wants to take on your everyday life stresses. They have their own stress. They're wanting to come to you and watch and be uplifted and happy.
And that's why I feel like at Christmas last year when I did I did it because I thought it would be interesting to see historic St. Augustine and the lights. But it really made me realize something, because the amount of comments I got from people that were like, thank you so much. This year has been horrible, and I got to escape for 30 minutes into a whole nother world and relax and see Christmas lights. And some people said they couldn't even go out to see the lights. So this was really fun for them. I thought, wow, that's really awesome. You know, I did something that made a whole bunch of people happy, and I enjoyed doing it too. You know, so I think that is important as well.
But that, you know, and again, we talked about this, was it last week or the week before? And I think that is really important. And, you know, as Patrick said, and there always will be, you know, the proverb, misery loves company, you know, that works two ways. You know, that works with the individual who's putting out their misery, seeking that comfort. But there are people who do enjoy watching that because they themselves are miserable, and that is company to them. So, you know, again, to each their own, and it is what it is. Just because I wouldn't do something, I'm not going to say is right or wrong. But just like what Katie was just saying, the fact that she created an environment, the fact that she created an experience for people to enjoy, this is what I'm going to encourage everybody to just take a moment and think about. When you are feeling miserable, why not tune in to somebody like Katie, who's trying to uplift you out of that? then seek out somebody who's in the same situation that's going to keep you right there. Do you know what I mean? This, like, that's
Yeah.
just be critical of what it is that you're consuming, and it doesn't just have to be YouTube. It could be the stuff like Patrick, Facebook. Facebook's become a really kind of weird, toxic kind of, just think about the things that you are taking in and you are consuming.
Yeah.
Because again, just like the food, you are what you eat. You are what you are constantly viewing and hearing and seeing. Like, those things can weigh on you, and they then you get to, maybe you weren't that person who would snap at somebody else and that you don't know because they want a ceramic figurine for $1 more than you, but you've got all of this other stuff. Seek out people that are trying to give you good, positive laughter and enjoyment, productive escapism. Like, don't.
Sometimes people maybe want to watch. Maybe they want to watch somebody else that has more problems than they do. Maybe it's an escape.
I mean, maybe that's
make yourself feel better with the misery of somebody else.
Well, and I want to say too, I had seen, oh my gosh, I meant to leave it up, but you draw people. Okay, I want to say this: be very careful when you are, if you are in a chat or on a post and you're listening to resellers dish about other resellers, blah, blah, blah. You have to be very, very careful, because you're getting a lot of the one-sided stories that can perpetuate all kinds of false agendas. So don't always believe what you see, and don't always believe what you hear. And the people that are the ones that are out shouting upon the mountaintops their mistreatments are typically the ones that have an agenda. And if the people that are really not addressing it because it's not worth their time or energy, there's a difference there. There's a big difference there.
And I think sometimes people posting that kind of content feel like they need to get a little bit of the comments coming in, oh, I'm so sorry. And they need to feel better about their situation or themselves. And I think that some people in general, it goes back to what my grandma said, is that some people are ugly because they have an issue going on in their own lives. And I think we just have to remember that and take everything with a grain of salt. You can't believe everything you hear on the grapevine.
Absolutely. And whenever I see posts like that from people, I just unfollow them.
Yep.
I'm just unfollowing them. On Instagram, you see it a lot, and I'm like, okay, I'm unfollowing you because I don't want to see it. I mean, it's just it's pointless. It's immature. It's very immature.
And if you look at this from an escape, you're not escaping. If suddenly that's your escape, is then all these landmines come flying. Right. That's why a lot of people, myself included, kind of stepped away from Facebook, because you could be like, oh, look, it's a puppy picture. Oh, look, it's a friend had a baby. Oh, look, somebody got married. There's this horrible post that pops up from somebody you thought you knew. You can't escape it. So you have to unfollow. And then the other thing, and I'll just say, without getting into specifics, I'll just say there was somebody that's in this group. There was an issue that was going on, and somebody called me and said, hey, this is what's been going on. This is what's happening. Can you kind of clarify? And I did.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, cool. We're done. Now we figured it out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know it was on the other side of the fence because I wasn't part of that part of the conversation. Yeah. So sometimes just ask. But there's a lot of people that don't want to know the truth.
I think
they like to live in that gray area because it's more to them. It can be more fun because it's about somebody else.
Yeah, I agree.
Very true.
Oh, Miss Kelly is
Kelly's in the chat.
Kelly Michelle, girl.
Kelly Michelle, there she is. Okay, so I guess we've kind of, we always want this to be an open, candid conversation. That's just what I think is therapeutic for everybody. But I do want to, again, if you have a question that doesn't involve YouTube or having a channel, please put them in all capital letters. I know I've missed some. So if you've asked a question before and I've missed it, just keep reposting it. I'll eventually see it. It doesn't get on my nerves.
The moderators aren't going to block you.
No. So, So Linda, okay, Linda, I'm trying to learn Instagram. I don't understand real stories. Girl, listen, the person that you need to contact is this girl right here.
Mhm.
Sarah knows a lot. Yeah.
That Sarah, the traveling button, she's the Instagram shop coach. So she will teach you everything that you need to know. So get in contact with her. And yes, Carrie, I got my poop hole fixed. It has been fixed for a while.
Mhm.
Randy's like, no, don't talk about Instagram in the reel.
Reels are hard. See, and this is what I don't understand. So I made my IG account a business account officially, and I did a reel the other week of brooches at one of the local antique stores that I frequent, and I used the song choices from Instagram. So it was on Instagram, and I used it, and it said, "Oh, your video has been blocked in 66 countries." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Well, now I'm using the music that's on Instagram." But I'm
yeah.
guessing because I'm a business account, it seems that
No.
I'm doing some sort of copyright infringement. I don't know what the whole thing is,
It's
but it was
because there are
totally
certain artists that are quite, and it's odd to us as U.S. citizens, but there are certain artists, songs, words, concepts that are banned in countries because they violate moral, ethic, religious standards. So,
Mhm.
U.S. typically you should see it there too, but Instagram doesn't do a very good job of letting you know that it's still up, but these countries just aren't going to see it. But you're not in trouble. They're just letting you know that.
Yeah.
well, it was
Yeah,
so weird because it was an instrumental Bing Crosby jazz tune. And I'm like, how is this offensive to I mean, I could understand, I guess, in some countries where music is very controlled,
Did you say Bing
but still
Crosby?
it was yes, it was Bing Crosby.
Do you know he wasn't really a very nice man, apparently, in
no,
his
he
Oh,
wasn't.
oh, I didn't know
That
that.
that's the
You
word on the street.
you
Speaking
don't
about
want to
those
know, Katie.
rumors,
Trust me, you don't want to know because I love me some Bing Crosby.
I do too. It will
Oh,
probably ruin all of our Christmas childhood memories.
Good thing he's not a reseller because otherwise we wouldn't be able to talk about him.
true. Linda, should I take off my Halloween off eBay now? No. I don't
I
understand
agree.
people taking things off of eBay.
no,
Just
The
leave
one
it
thing
on.
I 100% agree. The one thing I would say is if you posted it specifically for Halloween, you may have put in a bunch of keywords for SEO that were Halloween specific. Maybe go in, don't take them away, but maybe go in and edit it to add, more on the color or more on,
there you
decor
go.
application, something that might capture somebody else to be able to pick it up because it's not just for Halloween. So like we sell things differently. A black bowl is a black bowl.
It
But
can be used
at
all year round.
Halloween, it's
It's a
a
cauldron.
cauldron. It's witches. And so you can go back to, like, don't take away the old ones, but just go in and maybe relook at it from a non-holiday specific approach. And yeah, I particularly in eBay, Etsy, which I do more on Etsy, that one, because you're paying for it to be relisted, you're not paying a lot, but to me, I don't want to have to remember to then relist it 10 months from now.
Yeah.
It would just sit in a bucket for years until I die. So if it's up, keep it up. And you never know. I sell holiday stuff throughout the year.
I buy holiday all year round as a
Thank
collector
you.
at Christmas, so I don't have any issue with Christmas in July or August or September.
If you go to an antique mall and they've got a booth, maybe has a big sale on their, which I don't think that a lot of people don't mark down their Halloween stuff, but if they do, then and you go buy some and you're listing on eBay, go ahead and list it. Even though the holiday is over, people buy that stuff year round. And honestly, I sometimes find the best deals on things that I buy on eBay during the summer when people really aren't thinking about Halloween,
Off season. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would still definitely list it. Okay, Grace. Something that really aggravates Grace is when there's an offer up at a live sale and someone says they are out and then they come back in and they snipe it. Please give your thoughts on this subject. Grace, that's a very tricky situation.
That's why we use just in case.
That's why we use just in case. Well, we use just in case for a couple different reasons. It helps with the lag. It helps with the sniping. and it helps with, what was the third one, Michael?
Well, it gives people it's mostly the lag because people that like because when we were always doing claims, and the biggest thing that we would always hear is that their internet isn't fast enough, their internet isn't fast enough, their internet isn't fast enough. So it gives more people an opportunity to at least have a chance to get in on something. And a lot of times, well, that's something that again, as the person watching, mainly moderating your chat, is that you'll see people that are obviously like they're bidding on the last item, and you can say, "Hey guys, let so and so know they're lagging. They're going to need to refresh," because that person isn't like we can't do it because they're not going to see it until so.
That happens a lot. And I think some people, they are out and then they just realize that they cannot stand to not have the item. So they come back in, or they get a chance to do research on the item. So they go out for a while. And I think sometimes with the sniping, it's hard to tell if someone's truly sniping. I think sometimes because the lag lately on YouTube has been so bad that it's kind of it's hard. But I mean, on eBay, if you're bidding on an eBay item, there are people that can come in and snipe you at the last minute. So
I
as
do it
frustrating as it is, it's kind of a fact of life.
Well, it's not something that we can always control. And Grace,
Yeah.
I know that it trust me, it has happened to all of us. I've been at a live sale and I've been sniped, and I've Marco Polo'd Michael, and I'm like, Michael, Michael.
And I've done the same with Misty. I have.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not something that we can control, but the just in case does help. And I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't like," but I'm telling you what, people are really liking the just in case when they figure out that, well, wow, if they really want something and they're lagging, then during the countdown they can be like, "Okay, well, I'll pay $30 for this. I'm going to throw out my $30. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't." And it's just a way to throw out that bid.
It is a courtesy, though. I feel that you should
Definitely.
be already in the offer up before you do just in case. If you just come in at the end and do that, I'm sorry, I don't find that to be fair.
Nope, I agree. None of us do. But again, sometimes people will just come in and they're like, they didn't hear us or give that reminder. And I think that's something that we need to maybe give that reminder a little bit more. Counting down, or make sure that the only people that can be in here are the ones that are throwing out the active bids already. It's just a courtesy thing, but it's frustrating, Grace. We've all been there. It is annoying.
And that's why for me, on my channel, and everyone does things differently, but on my channel, I personally prefer the set prices because I find that it's just easier and there's less people. I hate to use the word fighting, but it does happen, not all the time, but there are people that fight over whether they want something. And I feel like with the set price, it's a lot easier for me to say, nope, this person came in first. It is how it is. And then it's simpler for me. So I feel more comfortable doing that on my channel, the set prices, than the offer ups, but everybody does things differently. And you can do exactly what you want to do on your channel. I just feel like they don't work for me.
And it's one of those cases. I'm glad you said something, because I was just sitting here silently because I didn't feel like I could say anything, because I don't do offer ups. And I will also say, when I watch a live sale and they start an offer up, I turn them off. I don't have any interest in watching it. I don't think they're fun. So I just make it clear. I'm not selling the Mona Lisa. So if your internet speed isn't fast, sorry. Try and do some things to make it fun, and it gives people a little bit more of a chance for like my mystery boxes and things like that. But this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, is because I've been told point blank, because I've been told point blank, so and so does offer ups. You should do them too.
No,
I don't care what somebody else does, because
do not message Patrick or Katie or anybody else to tell them that they should be doing a sale like I'm doing it, or like Michael's doing it, or like anybody else is doing it, because they don't want to.
We all have something different in it. I think all of us want the sales to be fun. To me, an offer up isn't fun for the people that aren't participating in it. And so, I love going to live auctions. I absolutely love them. But that's why I put stuff on eBay for an auction. Like, you know what, if you want to, try and get it, go over there. There's a place for that. But I don't judge anybody that does them, hey, knock yourself out. And clearly I would make way more money, which everyone feels very helpful telling me that. Well, you could have made more money if you sold it on auction.
Right.
Yes, thank you. I'm not an idiot, but I sell it for what I think is fair. And my general concept is very rare that I sell 100% of what I sell. So I'm like, okay, there's something that I tried to sell 2 months ago. No one ever emailed me on. You could still be the first bidder. So it's like,
right. Well, and I think though too is if you look at it, if Patrick, if you were reselling full time, you probably would.
I'd have a different approach. Absolutely.
Some offer up. So I think that people forget that, you know, this Patrick, like you said, he's doing it because it's fun. It's a hobby. It's, you know, extra pocket change. It's, you know, say a vacation money or this, that, and the other, you know, but, you know, it is, and we've started to do some fixed price things and some offer up things because I honestly don't think that every item warrants an offer up.
So it's all about a balance.
It's all about a balance. But I have to say though, too, you know, you get to a certain point where, I mean, I'm sometimes, you know, paying over $100. I'm paying over $100 for an item to resell. So, I mean, as you know, you start to spend a little bit more money on certain things. And so when you do an offer up, it does help make up that difference. You know, if I just spent like $130 on a fairy lamp, which I have done, then I
not that you're not sitting there sweating bullets praying to Jesus that
trust me.
You're like,
God. Just because we're keeping it honest here, this is a case where I've also been, I hesitate to use the word attacked, but felt like it, by resellers because I've been told you're selling things for too low. And I'm just like, well, at this point, I'm still not selling 100%. And my numbers are nowhere near the numbers of sellers that regularly do the offer ups. So it's like, it's not like suddenly I'm going after this audience that I'm going to triple the size of my channel because I'm not doing offer ups. I'm just looking for an audience that is going to have fun at my sales. You know, it is what it is. And some people that used to buy from me before the trend of offer ups started, I noticed they've left because they felt it's that whole lag of the internet. And they felt that they, like what Michael Todd was saying, that they didn't feel they had a chance to get in or grab something they wanted. I understand that. This doesn't mean I'm going to change the way I do things because to me, it's just more fun to get it up there. Somebody buying it, nobody's buying it, moving in, you know, and just having fun to the next.
And I think that's a good point too, is if you don't sell something in a sale, you're not like, nobody wants this. Look at this.
God, you people are insane.
Don't you want that? If it doesn't sell, then that item, that buyer wasn't there that day.
Right.
Yep.
Bring it back. And please, for the love of God, I mean, listen, I shouldn't be saying this because everybody's going to do, and everybody should run their sales and their businesses, but please don't heavily discount an item at the end of the sale.
Oh, yeah. Because that means you priced it wrong.
Your items.
If you priced it right,
that's devaluing. What Patrick is, but see, that's the thing. Because Patrick and I can have the exact same item. And what?
You silly girl.
You know, we can have the exact same. Oh my God, my brain, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't even know what I was going to say. Something about it. What did you say, Misty?
What
were you just saying?
Devaluing.
When you sell things at the end.
Right. Yeah, that's the devaluation of an item. It isn't that because one seller chooses to sell something lower than somebody else, because Patrick could have bought it lower than what I bought it for. So yeah, that means he gets to sell the item lower if he wants to.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't mean I have to. If I buy something for $1 that's worth 100, you know, I'm still going to try and go for that 100 or what I think is a reasonable price that I can get, knowing if I break 100 viewers on my live sale, I'm a happy day. You know, I don't have 700 people trying to, vie for something. So I have to, all of that has to be taken into consideration. But I also, for those who followed my channel for a while, I no longer have Trusty's bargain bin because I got to the point where I'm sorry, I can't sell something for $2.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And I also pride myself. We all have different ways of doing it. but I pride myself. I use all new boxes, all new packing materials, all new. I have custom cards. I have all kinds of things that if I'm selling it for $2 and then paying the PayPal fee on top of it, well, I just lost money,
Right.
So at some point that business is something that even though it's a side business, I still have to make money, so it's like, I want to have fun. There were times early on I was, kind of cussing some of my customers under my breath because I'm like, man, I can't believe you made me ship this. So you learn as you go. I do want to address one of the things that popped by because a couple people have asked it. I am doing a fundraiser for the dachshunds. There is a kind of an issue at this point. There were traveling boxes that were sent out. 21 of them went out. Only 7 have returned. So 2/3.
So please return your boxes, people.
And because all of those items, once the boxes come back to me, will be part of the fundraiser for the dachshunds on the 11th. And if I don't get enough of them, I'll have to, figure something out. But so thank you for asking, but no, I'm still missing most of them.
Yeah.
And this is a fundraiser for dogs, folks.
Yes. Yeah, this is not my fundraiser. This is a woman I used to work with. She started a dachshund rescue because she personally had dachshunds. She has rescued over the past 3 years. I think she's now up to something about 35 or 40. She currently has 20 dogs in her sanctuary.
Wow.
And the last one, the couple of the ones that she's rescued, the first vet bill was $6,000. So she specializes in seniors. It's a very good cause. It is a 501c3 organization, so it's totally legit. And this was just something, and people really did seem to enjoy. I don't mean to hijack the chat, but people did seem to enjoy the boxes.
Yeah.
What I was asking is that people didn't send them without permission, because I had this vision of Misty receiving all 21 boxes at one time. So I don't think, from what I can tell, not everyone followed that request. I think some people did end up getting boxes multiple times.
It was fun. It was fun.
Idea.
And then it was kind of like thinking, okay, who hasn't gotten a box yet?
That was a difficulty for some people. And then we also had the difficulty. This goes into, again, it is what it is. But I had a list of people who wanted the box. So when people couldn't figure out who to send it, they'd contact me. Hey, do you know who to send it to? I'd give them a name, and I found at least 2 separate occasions the name I gave didn't get the box. They ended up sending it to somebody else. And then I checked them off the list thinking, oh yeah, they got a box. I don't need to give them one. And then I felt horrible. So something that was supposed to be a fun fundraiser, just kind of goofy. For those that have no idea what I'm talking about, they were geocaching boxes. I took 21 boxes, put 5 items into each, send them to 21 different people. And then the idea was that person took something out, put something back in, and then shipped it to somebody else. And then the goal was in October, send them all back. And that's what we're still waiting for.
Yeah.
And even if I don't get more than 10 or 7, it'll still be fine.
Maybe USPS lost some of them.
It's entirely possible. People, I just said October, so maybe people didn't start shipping them till October 31st.
Yeah.
Because I said it wasn't until the 11th is the sale, but I need to organize it, blah, blah, blah. So if anybody knows where a box is,
or if you have a box and you're
send it in.
Oh yeah, I got that. I need to send that back.
Yep.
Well, I always say, as fun as it is to work on projects like this, and as wonderful it is that you're helping the dogs, and many great people are involved in this, it's always like herding cats. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to see. Okay, let me go scroll back up here for the question.
Chat is just flying, and it's great to see that.
Is it? Yeah.
There's that. I saw one, and now I've lost it.
That always happens.
Do you remember about what it was about? If you were
paying your invoices in a timely manner.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, Dana.
One thing I want to address too is, and I think it's happened to everybody, is you had a live sale, and I have in my that payment is due within 3 days, of receiving my invoice, because I have to take accountability into when I send out an invoice. So your payment is due within 3 days of you receiving my invoice. And if something happens, I get it. Life happens. Your stove breaks down, your furnace, whatever. I like to use the analogy of an anvil falls from the sky and falls on you. I use that analogy quite often because you never know you never know. Get hit by a bus.
You
But
and these buses, like
I know, you never know.
the
But
bus is out to get her.
I don't like getting an email that I bought something, that someone's bought something, and then they want to pay me in 4 weeks or 3 weeks. Can I pay you in 3 weeks? I mean,
You're running a business.
right.
Well,
So it doesn't happen very often,
true.
but I have been saying no. You may not pay me in 3 weeks. I will if you don't want to purchase the item, here's your out. That's fine. I'll put it back. I'll sell it again. But I can't wait 3 weeks. I just can't.
You also can't wait for someone to eventually contact you. Like, to me, there's a scale. Like,
I'm
if
having
you
that issue
contact
right
me and say you want to, like, I'm so sorry, something just happened, I don't get paid again for 2 weeks. Is it okay? Okay, at least you've opened up a conversation, and I can choose.
Right.
Am I going to do that? Am I not? If I know you, you're more likely to get the benefit of the doubt. If I don't, it might be a little bit dicier. But if I just don't hear from you, or worse, I heard from you to get you the email, and then I send you an invoice, and now I'm being ghosted, I don't have a lot of recourse. It's going to be one of those cases. I tend to let it go. I definitely let it go more than Misty, because I'm not dealing in the scale of what Misty's dealing with. So I can maybe let something go a little bit, but I don't have a basement. My garage is already full. Like, I don't have a cold storage unit upstairs. It's my house. Right? It's a townhouse. I just can't keep things for long periods of time. Or if I do, there has to either be a reason, or there needs to be communication. And I've had people later say, "Oh, I felt so bad. I didn't want to tell you I couldn't pay." Well, I'd rather you tell me you couldn't pay than have me basically be creating a voodoo doll in your name and shoving railroad spikes into it because you're not emailing me.
Right, right.
And I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so I don't have room to store. I got enough collections of my own taking up space before I can hold a whole bunch of boxes for people. So I can't do holding, and the other thing is that I wanted to bring up is I think that a lot of people feel like certain people are actively ghosting them, and they're not. I think sometimes, there are people that do this, and I do think definitely pay your invoices. But I found that there's some really good customers of mine that, to no fault of their own, the PayPal email goes to spam. And so I find that if I send them the direct link, and I know those people, and I automatically will just do that for them, immediately they'll pay it like that. But for some reason, like, it goes to spam, and so then it sits there for 3 days, and it's not that they're bad buyers, but they automatically then get labeled as bad buyers. And I think that that's something to be aware of too, is that reaching out, you don't want to go to the time and effort of reaching out like 50 million times, but at least reaching out and starting a conversation. Hey, did you happen to get the invoice? Maybe I typed your email in wrong, because boy, if I had a dime for every time I misspelled somebody's email.
Well, and we've talked about this before, and that's the word of the day is being proactive. When you're proactive in your business, if you've got that person's email, and I do, I'll send a link, just check, because it does go to spam. Katie is absolutely right. And someone might be waiting, and that has happened a lot. And you're like, just making sure that you've seen the invoice. Here's the link. Yeah, it takes a few minutes to go pull up that link and send the email. But you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'll send that email and I get paid right away. And
usually with an apology saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
Right.
But this is one of those, and you've probably covered this before, but it's one of those, it's not even a deep, dark secret, but I don't think a lot of people are aware. It's how you handle, different situations need to be handled differently.
Yeah.
We can tell when you've opened the invoice.
Yep.
Yes, we
So
can.
the number of people who have told me, "Oh, I never got your invoice."
Yeah, you did.
Would you like me to prove that you're
I
lying
don't think
to me
that
right
this is
now?
a secret that should be discussed in public. I think this is one thing that should be, because now people are just not going to open invoices.
Well, the thing
But
is,
I will just say I handle it differently. If you've read the invoice and now you're ghosting me, it's being treated very differently than, okay, I've not heard from this person in a week. Oh, they haven't opened the invoice. I have to figure out, okay, there's something wrong. You know, is it that is the spam is being blocked, whatever, that I might reach through Instagram. But I'm going back to what I think I cut off Misty. I apologize. But what you were saying about being proactive is proactive on the buyer's part too. And I think there is some confusion. There are many people who don't send me their purchasing information. And then when I finally chase them down, they're like, oh, I thought I bought from you before. Nope. And so, you know, they don't realize that we don't have all of this information. So if you don't get an invoice, contact us. Now, don't contact me an hour after the sale.
Yes.
That's another.
But see, there's a difference. You can contact me an hour after the sale, and I'll be like, okay.
You know what? You can contact me during the sale and give me your information.
Yes.
Oh, sure. But don't ask for the invoice. Where's my invoice?
Oh, no.
I've gotten emails like that, like 3 hours after the sale. And I always think, well, you know, there's a lot of sellers, like I applaud you, Misty and Jeffrey, and people that can do that so quickly, but I am one person. And 20 items is even a lot for me.
Yeah.
I'll admit. So I'm like, okay, it's coming in like 2 days. Just
I think sending your buyer and my whole thing is you should send your buyers an invoice before. Now, if you're having, like, I had a sale last night, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. But I sent and I told people, I said, I'm going to send you an invoice because I'm going to get it packed up today unless I hear from you. So if I didn't get an email telling people, oh, just wait until Thursday, I went ahead and sent out their invoice. But I think that if you're having 1 or 2 sales a week and you say, like, Thursday is my shipping day or whatever day you decide on, you should not be having another sale for that following week until your invoices from that previous week are sent. Because, well, people want their stuff, you know, they bought the stuff from you. They may be needing it for a gift. So, and honestly, I want to get this stuff out because I would like to get paid.
Well, it's trust and respect at the end of the day, because it's literally, you have had a sale, you've committed to something, you may or may not have somebody's money, but yet you're back having another sale. So what is it that you're doing here? You know what I mean? Like, dog and pony.
Communication is key with both sides, because I travel for my regular job. So when I had my live sale on Thursday, I said, I'm not returning home until Sunday. I won't be able to do invoices until then. So it's longer than normal because I didn't have my scale. I didn't have all my stuff. Like, I literally just can't do it. So if anyone was in a difficult time, of course I would let them off. Like, oh, I needed it for a birthday present, whatever. But it's my responsibility to explain to people, this is my norm. But unfortunately, as you see the sales coming from a hotel room, people, my regular customers start catching on, like, oh, okay, that means he's probably not going to get his invoices out as quickly because he literally can't. It's a communication. That's the number one. Communication is key. Buyers need to tell us, we need to tell the buyers, and it's all about the respect. And if there's a problem, this kind of goes back to what Misty was saying before. If there's a problem, communicate privately. Just say, hey, have you got, I haven't got my invoice. Did I miss it? Or whatever the case. It doesn't need to be plastered on other people's sales. It doesn't need, like, that's very difficult, because then people are in those sales going, oh, Trusty didn't get out his invoices. He must be a bad seller. I'm not going to go to his sale.
And also we've all seen it. If we are waiting on someone to pay their invoice and then you see them at another sale buying, then you're like, wait a minute, you still owe me like $20, But, and I want to say though, too, people are like, oh, Misty's got all this space. She could store all this stuff, but I don't want to. No, Misty can't store all this stuff.
No.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not anybody. Here's the thing. Your store could be 3, 4, 5, 10 times as big as it is. The person who decides what you are and are not going to store is you, because it's your business. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And and again, it's about respect. Respect is a two-way street. And I will say this, for everybody saying that, invoicing should go out in a reasonable amount of time, you are 100% correct. You people that are saying that if you've paid for an item, that an item should be shipped out on time, you are 100% correct. And just as everybody up here has said that we understand that sometimes things happen, we also understand that with certain sellers, things will happen. But as Patrick was saying, communication is key. It's again about demonstrating respect. In a relationship, you have to have communications on both sides for it to be successful. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to go ad nauseum as to why you couldn't ship something or why you couldn't pay something, but you have to own it and put it out there. So, if you are a buyer and you haven't been able to, for whatever reason, been able to pay for something, contact your seller privately. And if you are a seller, I am going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to say that if you've got more than 3 or 4 or 5 people waiting for their stuff, then you need to own it and come out with it and put it out there so that everybody knows that. And that way you are letting people make their own decisions as to whether they are going to buy from you because you're struggling. Period. Again, it's respect. And I'm not, when I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just trying to help people on both sides so that way you can be a better buyer and you can be a better seller. Communication, it's simple, but it is that difficult sometimes.
And I think it goes back to being a business, that key principle. It is creating something that's professional. And if you are, you don't have to be like, Johnny on the spot the next day invoice, but if you get invoices done in the next couple of days and you pack your items well and you take pride in what you're selling and what you're doing and you run things as smoothly as possible, people will hear about it and they'll come back because it always is going to be that way. And then like Patrick was saying, for him, he's got such a good track record that when the anomaly does happen, people realize it is just an anomaly and they'll continue to come back. But you have to be professional and you have to communicate. It's so important. If you continue to have sales and you're not getting out invoices and people are waiting like months at a time for something, and people are going to start to wonder, like, I don't know that I want to go back to this sale.
I can't count on one hand how many times someone has not ended up eventually following through with paying their invoice. I mean, I've had to wrangle and that a little bit, but if it does, when it has happened, then I just, if I've not gotten any communication, or if I've gotten communication like I'm going to pay tomorrow and then never get paid, then I just block them and they can't purchase from me anymore. And I think that and you can't feel, I used to feel so bad about it, but you can't feel bad about it. You just can't feel bad about it. So I agree with Skunky Junk too. Once you've invoiced and then once you get my invoice, you've gotten my invoice. I'm not going to reopen a box because it messes me up. I mean, it's out of my head. I have it boxed and ready to go, and it's ready to go on. I will save it for my next sale if I can, or if you ask me. But
before you invoice, that's
right.
Before
I invoice.
Because what I don't like about it, I do work it a little bit differently because I've gotten burned maybe a little bit more than what it sounds like Misty has. That I typically won't seal up the box until it's been paid. I will pull out the box.
I was going to ask you all that.
Yeah, and I will find the box.
From that.
I'll find the box. I will put it in there. And I think this came from one of Misty's early training videos that I do that, and I kind of estimate how much packing material I think is going to be in there based on how fragile it is. And then I invoice based on that. And I don't seal it up because I've had people just either ghost me or tell me they can't do it or whatever. But what I don't like and what I tend to steer away from is I've felt some people seem to be taking advantage of me, and they, the ones that pay the invoice the day I send it, well, then I automatically send them their item and they get it. Then some people will wait until the Wednesday of the next week, and then they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna pay your invoice, but since you have another sale tomorrow, can you just combine them so I can save on shipping?" And it's like, okay, maybe we could have discussed that before, but now you're making me wait a week for payment to take advantage of the way I do my business. And I don't feel right about that. So it's again, communication is key. I'm a Libra. I'm very big into balance and fairness, and things happen and there's always going to be exceptions. But if I feel you're playing the system, not going to give you a lot of leeway, because it's not fair to the people who I've got absolutely dedicated customers that are mortified if it takes them more than 25 minutes to pay the invoice.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, they shouldn't have to pay the penalty because they're honest or fast, that now they're paying double shipping when someone else is trying to play the system.
Yep. And I think too, it's really important with the invoicing and seeing the invoices, not only to pay, but with the going back to the box thing. I mean, I package everything up and tape it and seal it. And I've usually been very lucky. I've only had like one person that's completely ghosted me. I've been lucky that everyone that's bought from me has been a repeat buyer and they've been in the community a while. And so I know that they're going to pay me. So I usually seal things up. But I think that's interesting, is to leave the box open, weigh it, and still calculate the shipping and all of that.
It's a good idea.
But then that way you're not wasting tape, because I mean, the person that ghosted me, I had sold a sticker to, and so I had already used a lot of, when I do stickers, I've got my special letterhead that I put in there, and I used my wax seal, and all of that was material that I could have used on another package. And so I should have, and I learned that with the stickers when I was doing those, to wait and not put the stamp on it unless it was someone I knew that was gonna pay, that's been around a while, because we do have those people.
Yeah, true.
Well, I also don't like to take a brand new box, seal it up, and then like, oh, I can always cut it open. Well, now that's not a nice new box for the next person that's going to get it. So it's like something silly. But I remember Tim from over the years, so I learned from everybody. And so
that's wonderful. Yeah. We
Misty kind of like gave like some of the training video, but then Tim was one of those, like, you learn after the fact. So Tim, if you don't know, over the years, he does an amazing job with shipping. And he'd already shipped this, wrapped all this stuff up. It was 3 pieces of glass, if I remember correctly. He'd sealed it all up, and then the person ghosted him. And so it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, he literally showed up in a sale. He's like, okay, here's a sealed box. It has a pitcher, it has uranium glass, and it had like candlesticks or whatever. Like, he knew what was in there. He's like, I'm not opening it up. I'm not, going to rip open all this packing material, all the double layers of bubble wrap and everything. And he's just like, so I'm selling it. And he had to sell it for less than he sold it the first time.
But he probably still saved money instead of using all of that.
So it's a balance. But I'm like, that, to me, that's a travesty. I mean, I understood why he did it, but it was one of those that, and there's been times I've overestimated and I've had to give people refunds. And there's definitely been times I've underestimated. And like, oh yeah, this will be like £1.50 pounds, maybe 110. And then by the time the packaging goes in there and I had to bump up to a larger box, it's 2.5. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go back and charge more. I just eat it, because at some points it'll balance itself out. But again, I'm a Libra.
Well, Misty's videos are great when she does her shipping videos, because I can still hear Misty literally every time I'm packing something, tucking and rolling. And stop the
I'm thinking about doing another one on Thursday. I might
do it.
I might. I don't know. I'm thinking about a lot of things that I might be doing a few things differently for the beginning of the year, but I'm still just, I'm thinking about it. Wait, I'm confused. Julie, so Julie, has been 1 month. You received 2 different items has been shipped. So you've paid, but then you haven't.
I feel like
I would go contact PayPal and I would dispute the charge that you have not received the item, and then just then don't come back to that sale.
We've been paying shipping, so what is there an open box for?
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
I'm a little confused.
What's an open box in this situation?
Because you can, if you've not received if someone has billed you for an item and you have not received it, obviously contact the seller
first. Yes.
Don't open up a PayPal claim until you've contacted the seller first. But
what was the seller what was the seller received a message that they turned it into an open box? I don't know what that means.
Maybe hoping that you will buy more.
I don't know. That's confusing, Julie. But that's, again, communication. Talk to the person that you bought from and figure out exactly what that means. And if there's someone that unfortunately isn't cooperating or being good at communicating or willing to work with you to figure that out, then go to PayPal and say, hey, there's an issue, and open up a claim.
Oh, Margaret said, open box as a seller, keeping the items and continues to add. Okay, no, I would not ever do open boxes. I used to. Will not do them any longer, because what will happen is that you will have a box that weighs 15 pounds, and then you have to ship that box, and then the buyer is going to be like, well, that's too much, but that's too much shipping. I'm not buying that. And then you're stuck with all these items.
Or I don't remember buying all of that.
Right.
And now I have a $200 invoice and I can't figure out what's going on with that.
Yep. No open boxes for me. Well, we always get on such as good conversations. It's 10 o'clock. We got to go.
Never enough time.
There's never enough time. I did see someone, I recycle. The only thing that I don't use as far as recycling, just because I don't know. I should, but I just don't like the way that it looks, is newspaper. I don't like to use newspaper as packing material. I had my local bakery contact me, which I was like, my bakery's calling me. You going to deliver me some donuts? But she watches my videos. I don't know if you're watching, but hello, Magic Morning Bakery. Best bakery in Bedford. I think it's the only standalone bakery in Bedford, but still the best. She contacted me and said that she had those waxy kind of papers that they lay on the sheets, or the cake boards, or like the sheets of donuts. And the truck, just like, they spilled out everywhere. So they were all inside this truck, so they couldn't use them. So she called me and she said, could you use these? And I was like, well, yes, I can. I couldn't even lift the box. It was so heavy. So all these waxy, they're perfect packing material. So.
Well, I don't want to give the wrong impression that I will occasionally recycle stuff, and I printed up little cards that said, because it is the exception for me. So if you're a first time customer, you'll almost always get the perfect little box. Now, I do not make the ribbons and do the stuff that Misty does, which I sit in awe in all of her videos.
I enjoy doing it.
No, it makes me happy.
Exactly.
It's a very selfish reason why I do it.
And it makes me happy to use new material, because I feel like, okay, I'm not doing all the extra pretty stuff, but you're getting butcher paper. That's kind of in the theme of Trusty, Huckster, Mercantile. You're getting, just quality stuff that you're not sifting through something like, does that smoke? Is that cat urine? Where you're trying to wonder what, I've got a cat urine video as background, but so I don't want to give the impression there's nothing wrong with using recycled material.
Just as long as it's not cat urine, though.
Yes.
Cigarette smoke.
Yes.
When COVID first started, I did a series of unboxing videos. I went crazy and just bought a bunch of stuff, and then I started opening it on live on camera, or it was video, but I opening it, and just to see how do they pack. And I think 2 or 3 things I received were broken, and one was received fine, and then I started smelling cat urine. And my favorite part is the seller that shipped me that item watched the video.
Oh no!
So I got some comments on that.
Maybe that's a good learning experience. As hard as it was for her to hear, maybe in the future it'll change. I mean, I will always reuse certain companies' boxes. Like, I'm telling you, Chewy, their boxes are good. There's just some boxes that are fabulous. Benny, I know Benny's in the chat here. He gets his boxes from Walmart, and I always joke with Benny because I say I will reuse a good Benny box and a good Patrick box too, because some boxes are just so good that you can always reuse them. But Amazon, you got to be careful with some of their.
Oh, I don't like an Amazon. They're crappy.
Not all of them. I get all of mine from Amazon, and I have weeded out the ones I don't like, and I only buy the ones that I do like, because I have gotten some.
Well, I mean, like the ones that you would get if you bought something from Amazon.
Amazon boxes are good because they come in weird sizes.
That's
so
true.
I have very standard sizes, and I like it that way because
it's
easy for me to calculate shipping. It's easy for me to organize. But every once in a while, I need some weird size because I'm shipping a picture frame, or I'm shipping
or a giant oil can to me.
That's still sitting next to me. Like that, I'm using my padded mailer box. The thing's massive. Sometimes you just need those weird sizes. And so Amazon, and sometimes you have to double, like reinforce it with extra tape, which adds to the weight.
But I hear people like, I go and buy boxes from Walmart. And I'm like, you're spending so much money on boxes from Walmart. Order those boxes from Amazon.
I'm lucky. I've got a packing company that's local to me. So I don't have to even pay for shipping. I just order from them and I can pick them up.
Nice.
And
That's
so
great.
I can be relatively inexpensive on the cost. But, even that, a big box, a 12 by 12 by 12, you're still paying over $1 a box.
Yeah.
It's even if basically the cost. So it goes back into something you bought for $10 does not cost you $10.
Oh, let me tell you about before we leave, a packing peanut story. Oh, I hate packing peanuts.
I hate
all of my fiber inside me. I just can't with the packing peanuts. And yesterday I was taking out some boxes. I had some orders and I always take the boxes when I get orders. I put them in my car and take them to the shop to use. And I spilt the box that had packing peanuts in it. And it took
so annoying.
I was walking around the neighborhood picking up those stupid peanuts, and then I was like, and my neighbors probably thought I was like, stop blowing wind. I was like yelling up at the sky. And I was so sick of picking up those darn packing peanuts, but I was like, I don't want an animal to eat one. I was afraid that they would get choked or something. But
at least you didn't buy the water soluble ones, because those just cost a fortune. And it'd be like each one as it blew away was a nickel. It's
right.
Like, I want that back.
God, those things smell so good, though. I'm telling you.
And I want to thank
cookies.
him. He mentioned that he didn't put packing peanuts in my box that he sent to me because he was afraid Louie would eat them. Well, yes, Louie has eaten her fair share of packing peanuts. And one of the things that I find hardest when I get boxes that are filled with packing peanuts is I'm trying to dump them. Because I won't even reuse them. I'm sorry. I know that's a waste, but I can't stand them. And if I do reuse them, I'll put them into a Ziploc bag so that the other person doesn't have to deal with the mess. But I've gotten so many of them before that when I'm trying to dump them into the trash, they go like behind the trash can and under the fridge. And then I'll hear Louie munching on something later. I'm like, Louie, what are you into? And then I'll go around and there she is, just happy as a lark with her little packing peanut just snacking away. I'm like, darn it. So thank you, Jen. I appreciate that.
I swear by bubble wrap and paper. Bubble wrap and paper.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you need. You don't need them packing peanuts. Okay. Pam said, can you send the boxes back? Yes, you can, Pam. You can. Well, I mean, empty. I don't understand. You can send them back.
The cost to ship them, I saw that question too. The cost to ship them back, though, is probably more than the cost of buying a new one. So unless you did a box and you ship back one box that contained 25 boxes, it's probably going to weigh like 10, 15 pounds. So it's really going to be difficult to cost effectively do that. But the best thing, if you make donations to Goodwill, use those boxes to take it to Goodwill, because then they can use it for when people like us go to a Goodwill. Like, you can want a box instead of a bag.
Michael already knows what I'm going to say. But American Bubble Boy, y'all, if you have not got your bubble wrap, American Bubble Boy, you're missing out. And I'm not just saying that because I do have an affiliate link, but that isn't the reason. Because honestly, I have so much Bubble Boy credit that I could give everybody rolls of bubble wrap for Christmas because I love their company so much. I have so much bubble, but it is so good. It's good bubble wrap. It's a small company. You get it within 2 days. It's wonderful. So go check out American Bubble.
I'm a convert.
The perforations of Bubble Boy, because finally they have perforation. I mean, they've always had them, but compared to other bubble wrap that doesn't, and that's my biggest frustration is bubble wrap that you cannot find the seam.
Yeah, I no longer scream at the sky. Someone from the bubble wrap factory needs to be fired because there's no perforation. Like, I bought perforated bubble wrap, but American Bubble Boy is legit good bubble wrap. It was funny because I was on Instagram Live And we were talking, and then American Bubble Boy popped up in the chat, and I was like, by the way, American Bubble Boy. But no, they're great. They're great. They really are a great company, and their customer service is wonderful. You can actually they're getting ready to launch. I've been on it for a while, but they're getting ready to launch it where you can have automatic deliveries, monthly deliveries.
Oh, nice.
So then you don't even have to think about it. And it'll just
Fancy.
the door.
But in fairness, as we're talking about something doesn't cost $10, so what Sean is saying, even Bubble Boy, who I'm a convert, I used to get it from the packing. Yeah. I could get the same price from the packing company, but I literally had to buy such large rolls. I couldn't fit them all into my car to get that price. So it's, so it's a great way to do it. It still costs money. It's still like every time I get shipping materials, I'm dropping between $200 and $400 every time I do that.
Right.
And for boxes, it's for packing material. It's for the butcher paper. It's for the newsprint. It's all of that adds up, and it doesn't. It's a cost.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, if you are a reseller and you have a YouTube channel, contact American Bubble Boy. They will give you an affiliate link. So if you promote them, you can earn your bubble bucks. You can earn your bubble bucks.
Ooh.
So, all right. Why do our packages smell so good? Well, honestly, with mine, probably because I'm obsessed with Scentsy warmers, and I constantly have one burning, and it's right there in the shop. That's probably why, because it's right there, next to where I pack. So you're probably smelling the wax.
I also love the smell of a new cardboard box. I don't know if that's just bizarre. But I think it has such a good, new book smell to me.
Yeah. Oh, I love the new book smell.
Yep.
Oh, when I was teaching and I'd have to prepare all of the Scholastic orders, I'm like in the corner smelling the books. Even smelling the Scholastic order form.
Oh, yeah.
Smell to it.
Just don't smell those green books that have arsenic in the cover.
No. Probably, I probably would. I like to smell things. I'm weird. All right, so we're 15 minutes past the hour, but we can't help it because we like to talk. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, Patrick and Katie, for coming into the chat and hanging out.
Thanks for asking us to join
and having a real true talk. We're real true talk, and I think that it's good. We are constantly learning things from each other every day. Always thank you, Michael, for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you so much to the moderators that were in the chat, that you did a good job. And thank you guys all for participating in the chat. Oh, thank you. Mark's like, thank you, Mark. What am I thanking you for?
For not taking the phone out of your hand.
Yeah, you let me be away from you for tonight. Yeah. And last night, 2 nights in a row, he watched what he wanted to watch on TV.
You baked a pie last night, though, so you paid him off.
I did make a pie. Well, I knew it was a frozen pie, so
but you still made it
in the oven.
It's still delicious.
It was from Aldi's, and it was very good. It was very good. Anyway, thank you guys so much. And tomorrow, well, Patrick, when your sales are on Thursday night, so I'm going to make you big so you can promote yourself.
All right. So for live sales, will be on Thursday. They're always Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Trusty Huckster Mercantile. And also coming up this week, I have a bonus sale doing a double decker. I think she was actually in the chat earlier with Beth from Carolina Princess Sweet Treats and Pretties. So she is having her sale. It was 1 year anniversary. Her very first live sale was actually on my channel. So she has asked me to come back to her channel, and that'll be Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So I'll have a doubleheader Thursday night. Today's her birthday, and she met her 1,000 subscribers today.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
All right. And make sure, I will say, make sure that you do go subscribe to Patrick's channel and his Instagram. Both he and Katie all their information is linked in the description. So make sure that if you're not subscribed to them, that you go and subscribe to them. All right, Katie, where can everybody see you next?
So next, coming up on my channel, I will be hosting the next Duo Dive on Wednesday, and that is going to be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And we are going to have Fatbird Finds, Laura and Mary Beth, and they're going to be doing a deep dive into their swung vase collection. So that will be exciting to learn about swung vases. So tune into that. And there's going to be something extra fun coming out on my channel with Jamie and Vincent Tree Wasted this week. So stay tuned for that. There will be a big announcement coming soon. So very much looking forward to that. And of course, you can always find me on Friday for my vinyl video.
Yay. And then Michael and I are having a live sale tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard. And it's Christmas, baby.
It is.
And I think I'm having Christmas for the rest of the year, honestly. I mean, I'm saying it. I got enough stuff to do it. So I'll intermingle like some red glass and some green glass. A wreath.
A wreath.
A Michael wreath.
The first of the season. It's not finished. I'm just giving you a sneak peek. But that's the first of the season, y'all. What?
Yeah. Misty's not making any wreaths because Misty cannot craft. So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. It's always a pleasure. Next week, we will be on Michael's channel, and I will be in Florida on location.
What?
For Vintage Rescue Squad from my mother's house.
Hopefully we're going to do something.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
All different next week.
It is. It's different.
It's going to be a whole different perspective, guys. A whole different perspective.
Yep. It is. It's going to be good. So if you...
I'm hoping.
Well, I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
You don't give anything away. You're just going to have to wait. All right. Thank you guys so much. And make sure that you go and subscribe to all of these lovely people. They are a wealth of information and so much fun and so genuine and good and great channel. So go subscribe and we will see you next time. Bye.
Y'all have a good night.